Chapter 44 Burning the Ant Sea. A. Guhai's main body abruptly opened its eyes. Guhai's figure abruptly loosened, as if he had fallen into a sandpit, and Xiaoru on the side finally couldn't hold on and fainted. Looking all over, the sky was covered with ants, as if it was a vast ocean. Guhai's face changed, just in time to see Xiaoru's final look of relief. Seeing Guhai waking up, Xiaoru couldn't hold on any longer, tears hanging on her face, but the last corner of her mouth was tinged with a smile. "Xiaoru," Guhai steeply exclaimed. With one hand, Guhai hugged Xiaoru. Boom! The true chi around his body steeply erupted out. A stream of air instantly blew the surrounding ants away. Xiaoru's tail was skinned and drenched in blood, and one by one, the ants clung to the bloody tail, greedily sucking on Xiaoru's fast-drying blood. Since, Guhai's eyes glared. Holding Xiaoru with one hand, he steeply launched a stream of true chi forward with one hand. However, the true chi at this moment was not a coherent true chi, but rather, it was transformed into countless small true chi dots in general, as if it was a cluster of true chi arranged in a game of Go. Boom! The group of true chi points were ranged extremely skillfully, and the cloud of blade chi in general emerged steeply. If one were to look closely, one would definitely be able to discover that the shape of the chess game by this true chi points was exactly the heavenly saber, life and death game that Guhai had experienced not long ago. It was just that Guhai's true chi was still too weak. But even though the true chi was too weak, the blossoming blade chi was incomparably fierce. Boom! The blade chi rushed straight out, and wherever it passed, countless ants were immediately crushed. With a fierce stamp of his foot, he stepped on the ground where the blade chi passed through, and jumped towards the distance in the middle of it. Boom, boom, boom. Quickly jumping away, Guhai quickly ran away with the unconscious Xiaoru. Xiaoru's strength was low and weak, so she couldn't block the sea of ants. But Guhai was different. Guhai was at the peak of the third level of the innate realm, and he arrived at the top of a mountain peak in a few jumps. Looking down, the sky covered with ants converged in the valley. Guhai's face turned cold, and turned, looking above Xiaoru's tail. Snap, snap, snap. Quickly, he helped Xiaoru clean up the remaining ants on her blood-drenched tail. Guhai quickly took out the injury medicine from the token's small space and carefully applied the medicine to Xiaoru. HMM. In her stupor, Xiaoru gave a painful enunciation. Looking at Xiaoru's tearful face, a wave of emotion flashed through Guhai's eyes. "If you can't save me, don't try to be strong." Gently applying the medicine for Xiaoru, Guhai was able to guess what had happened earlier, through the scene in front of him, as to why there were so many ants. In the center of his brow, the disc of chess on the white crystal kept evolving, releasing a burst of its wonderful energy. Perhaps that was the culprit. Helping Xiaoru to finish applying the medicine, Guhai touched Xiaoru's head, and turned his head to look at the rolling sea of ants below once again. A cold aura flashed in his eyes. Probing his hand, Guhai took out a spirit stone. Click, click. Guhai crushed the spirit stone. It turned into countless small fragments. "Sins, even though you don't have a spirit, but I'm not happy anymore," Guhai said in a cold voice. Taking out a portion of the small fragments, he wrapped them with his true chi and arranged them in the shape of a chess game. Boom! The group of small fragments that were wrapped up immediately burned with a blazing fire. Boom! Guhai threw this one fireball out as if it was a flaming bomb. Bear, 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 bear. Immediately, a large number of ants were scorched, and the fire remained. Using all kinds of small fragments, constantly arranging chess formations and stringing them together with true chi, a fireball was continuously born, and under Guhai's throwing, a fireball, like a meteor fire rain, fell from the sky, wrapping up the rolling sea of ants. Boom, 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 boom. The fire erupted with a loud bang. The fire rushed into the sky, and under the chess formation arrangement, the flames became more and more violent, and as long as the spirit stones in the spirit stone fragments were not exhausted, endless flames would be produced in general. Rumble. The ant corpses also burned. The endless ants wanted to escape, but their speed was too slow. The rolling flames rushed up to the sky. The mountains were covered in fire. This carefree valley turned into a furnace in general. The flames rushed up to the sky, burning the sky red in general. Wah 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 wah. An ocean of flames. Xiaoru perhaps dressing of the medicine. The medicine stimulates the wound. Confused pain woke up. The moment she woke up from the pain, she just happened to see Guhai setting fire to the vast sea of ants. Although it was not a crime to do that, but Guhai still went and did it. Xiaoru looked at Guhai in a blur, and saw that Guhai was at peace. Xiaoru smiled, seeing that Guhai was venting his hatred and avenging himself by setting fire to the rolling sea of ants. Xiaoru smiled even more happily. "Benevolent Lord, thank you," Xiaoru weakly shouted. "Xiaoru, you've woken up. Great. You can use this spirit stone." Guhai immediately took out another spirit stone and gave it to Xiaoru. "No need, Enkong. Xiaoru's life is cheap. She doesn't need this spirit stone and won't be able to use it. As long as Enkong is well, it's fine," Xiaoru weakly said. "With me here, I won't let anything happen to you." Guhai hugged Xiaoru and comforted her. Xiaoru lay in Guhai's arms, looking at the huge fire in front of her. A trace of infatuation flashed in her eyes. Xiaoru was a snake demon and was still quite displeased with flames, but at this moment, looking at such a huge fire, instead of being disgusted, she had a kind of infatuated fondness, because this was the fire that Engong had set for himself, the fire that he had set to avenge himself. This vast fire was more intoxicating than any beauty. "This sea of fire, so beautiful," Xiaoru said weakly. In her weakness, Xiaoru seemed like she was about to fall asleep again. Guhai's face changed, knowing that Xiaoru's injuries were too severe. Her blood was almost drained, and she could die at any time. Turning his head, Guhai looked at the sky, and his eyes glared. "Cloud beast. 100 longevity peach tree. Golden peach. Perhaps, maybe if you eat the golden peach, your injuries will heal." Probing his hand, Guhai touched out a golden chess piece. Above the sky, rumble. The cloud beast battle was still ongoing. However, at this moment, the cloud beasts were no longer chatting about a few, but rather, nearly 1,000 of them were gathering high in the sky, and they were extremely large in size as well. Guarding in front of the 100 longevity peach tree was still the Hydra, 600 feet in size, huge to the extreme. While behind the Hydra, there were 300 allies in general. Roar! The 9-headed serpent opened its mouth and roared. The cloud beasts that guarded the 100 longevity peach tree, all of them roared long and hard, showing their ferocity. "HMPH, you group of outsiders, you were able to find the golden chess pieces and think that I'm the only one who can stop you." The elders refused to make a move, but there are still the ordinary aborigines of this realm, who alternatively are not disciples of the Yichon Pavilion, but are not yet disciples of the Yichon Pavilion. Can help me. Humph, come on. Come again. The 9 dukes atop the Hydra's head hissed hideously. These 300 cloud beasts, all up to 500 feet big. One is the strongest cloud beast, each cloud beast head. All stand of this realm aboriginal, along with the 9 eunuchs, glaring in all directions. In the 4 directions, there are 700 cloud beasts, scattered in their own small groups, surrounded the center. However, these 700 cloud beasts, ultimately the size of the small one, the largest one should dragon, only 500 feet big. The other cloud beasts were even worse. At the head of the Yinglong, naturally, was Gao Xianzi, who was followed by dozens of people, all of whom were temporarily allied, forming groups of dozens of people, on the one hand, preparing to storm the Hydra army, and on the other hand, preventing the others from devouring themselves. A group of people, staring blankly at the 100 longevity peach tree in the center. Another large group, but the one-piece hall group, Mengtai. Mengtai stepped down, was a huge dragon. A little smaller than Gao Xianzi's Yinglong, but not much smaller. The most important thing was that this group had the most numbers. There were as many as 300. Each of the other small groups, all of them had a single strong person standing. At this moment, all of them were staring at the center with red eyes. All of you, Mengtai let out a loud shout. Everyone looked towards Mengtai. If we fight individually, sooner or later, we will be consumed by the Hydra army. Why don't we go all out and attack the Hydra army together? And when the Hydra army is destroyed, how about we divide the 100 lifespan peach tree? Mengtai let out a loud shout. Good, good, good. A series of roars rang out. Roar. Countless cloud beasts roared in unison, and a new round of battle opened up. Rumble. The rolling cloud beasts rushed straight towards the center, charging towards the 9 dukes. Kill. The 9th duke let out a loud shout. Roar. The 9th prince's group of subordinate cloud beasts also let out a roar in unison. Rumble, rumble. The raging battle opened up once again. The sky shook with a sound that resounded in all directions, and in the small world, nearly everyone looked towards this unprecedented battle. Above a mountain peak in the small world, the great brightness king god, holding a 5-colored scepter in his hand, quietly watched. Great brightness king god, there's still no figure of Queen Nuwa, a sun-black-robed man said worriedly. Keep looking, keep staring, it will come out, the great brightness king god said in a deep voice. Yes, over at the Game Heaven Pavilion. Is there any movement? Great brightness king god faintly asked. No, the Yition Pavilion disciples, after the initial agitation, were suppressed by the Great Elder. All the Yition Pavilion disciples only do wait and see, not allowed to intervene. Great brightness king god coldly smiled and said, not allowed to intervene. That's good. The Great Elder. That old man is also so patient. In the innate remnant realm, above a square, the Bodhisattva of merciful life and the black-robed Grand Elder stood quietly above the square, looking up at the battlefield in the sky. 100 longevity peach tree. Ah, you guys really aren't going to intervene, really give up. Mercy Life Bodhisattva laughed. The Grand Elder, wrapped in his black robe, was silent for a while. Mercy Life Bodhisattva, are you here to see the jokes of my heavenly pavilion? I don't have that kind of leisure. It's just that 5-colored divine light earlier. It should be the great brightness king god, right? How did you guys even provoke him? He shouldn't have come to the heavenly remnant realm. Oh. Bodhisattva Mercy Life frowned. Great brightness king god, insightful wisdom eyes. The cloud formation actually couldn't even cover his discerning eyes. Humph. What does he want? How would I know? The Grand Elder said in a cold voice.